sex is not a reward for effort, for dressing nice, for looking nice, or for for just banging your head repeatedly off the wall. It's something that you should engage with, be present with, and actually really enjoy. So I've talked I talked to someone earlier this week about this, and then I started to think about the amount of times I've had different masters, and people who teach, people who coach, people who do relationship coaching, all that sort of stuff. Uh, Talk about the energy exchange during physical contact, which then leads on to sex. Like we used to talk about, like when you're grappling, you're physical. If someone's getting angry and you're not tuned in, you can start to get angry. I'm pumbling in my head there. You start to tune into their anger, and then it starts to get more aggressive. So the more you can protect your energy, the more you can train and fight in the discipline the way you want to. So I was talking about that, and then we ended up talking about sex. And a lot of them used to talk about how, if you had sex with the wrong person, with someone of a lower frequency, a lower vibration, they would actually pull you down to their level. And I used to really dislike that, because a lot of the people I slept with, and not that I've slept with a lot, and the relationships I were in, they weren't into like manifestation. They weren't into working on themselves spiritually. They didn't meditate or do martial arts or anything like that. So I always thought, if I'm cultivating my energy and then I have sex with them and it takes it away, I don't like that. So because I did Reiki, I was a Reiki master, or still am a Reiki master, I suppose. I have a really good energy protection. So then I used to just add a wee spiritual condom as well. And I used to tell the masters, and they used to laugh and tell me it was stupid. But the more I thought about it, the more I actually like that idea. I don't see why my energy, whenever it's being cultivated and it's strong and I look after myself, I'm physically, mentally, emotionally healthy, why someone who doesn't do that is going to be able to overpower me. That just does not make sense. And when we believe energy is about belief, intention, my intention is for that not to happen. So I don't believe that can happen. So I just wanted to talk a wee bit about that, because it's come up a few times with different people. And one of the things that, like, I worked in bars for 13 years, and I used to watch people. They'd go for the girl that they were attracted to, that they liked, that they maybe had seen about in the gym or whatever, and they meet them out. And then by the end of the evening, they've just swerved way off, and they've just been doing a numbers game. They're just chatting to everyone until somebody eventually says yes to going home with them. And I used to think how sad that was, that they would they would be that have so little respect for themselves, that because this didn't work out, that they would end up just taking whoever was willing to take them. And then the reverse was happening as well. That female was going home with someone that had just played a numbers game. If they had been second in line or 30 in line, they still would have won the terrible shit game that they didn't even know they were playing. And then I just imagine they went home and had the worst sex ever, because they were drinking and didn't know each other and probably didn't communicate, and everything was just terrible. Uh, so one of the points I wrote here is, sex reflects your self-worth, not your body count. So I've talked to people that have had a lot of sex and with a lot of different people, and I'll ask them, like, was any of it good? Like, could you pick out the best time? Or, and most of the time, the best time is when they're in relationships, and you'd be like, obviously you've got connection there, you've got some sort of love, or I guess more than just lust or getting your end away or whatever. And I think it comes down to how people handle uh, rejection, and how people handle actually talking to people. People aren't great at communicating in general, and then they put a lot of pressure on communicating in a bar. Like, we went to Sligo one time, and I remember we were in the bar, and there was a girl at the bar, and she was very attractive. And I came over to the group of guys, and there was about four of them talking about her, and like how she was lovely and how it would be great to get to know her and blah blah blah. And I was like, well, fuck, go over and talk to her. And none of them would do it. And then obviously they dared me. They're like, oh, you think you're the big man, go and do it. And I did go do it, because I don't think of it as, I just think of it like talking to anybody else. I have no skin in the game at the start. I'm just going to talk to someone. I actually went over and talked about her tattoos, and something I've noticed over the years, mightn't be the same now because I don't go out or talk to anybody anymore. But I used to ask people, like, I have tattoos here, what does your tattoo mean? And whatever they said it meant, I would always just disagree with them. I don't think that's true. And then they would, because people are usually in autopilot, especially women at bars are in autopilot when someone approaches them. So I did that, and we had a nice conversation, and I went back to the fellas. And then one of the other guys was like, oh, if it's that easy, I'm going to do it. And then he went and talked to somebody and got completely rejected by that person, and then came back with his tail between his legs. And then obviously she was a bitch and all sorts of nonsense from that. You're like just man up. You approach, like I approached from the side so the person could see me from a distance coming in. I opened with a unique line rather than like a unique conversation rather than the generic things that normal people do. And he approached directly from behind, which is a terrible way to approach anybody, especially a woman at a bar. And then did the whole, here, how do you come here often? Hey, what's the crack and all? He was a rancher like that, so that's how he spoke, and that's the way he interacted with this person for the 5 seconds that she was willing to listen before she waved her hand and said, I've got a boyfriend, and didn't even have a ring on. It was great. But it was the approach. The rejection wasn't personal, it was energetic. It was the mindset that I had was I'm just going to go and talk to someone, and then obviously I used everything I've learned over the years to go in and talk to them in such a way that made me less creepy and less of a threat. The other person went in thinking, oh, I'm going to look stupid if this girl doesn't talk to me, and never really thought about their approach and just sort of bowled in, and then that's why it didn't work. So most men will take it like a punch to the ego. Oh, she didn't like me, but she didn't not like you. She didn't like your approach, the vibe that you give off, and maybe the way you look and the way you were dressed. So if I'm out and I'm dressed shabbily and I haven't shaved and I just look a mess, and then I approach someone that's well dressed and look like they really took an interest in the way they looked for going out, that the energy just does not match there. So they're going to be a bit more on edge whenever you arrive to do that. So think about that. Like the rejection isn't personal. It's energetic. So if you go to the person you actually are interested in and they reject you, you don't have to then try to back that up by going all over the place and just finding someone that'll give you a bit of validation so you can take them home and pretend you're the man and go, oh, I didn't even want her anyway, I wanted that person. You want to think about the rejection as personal to them. Again, we're back to not taking anything personally. And then what could you have done better? How could you have approached that situation better? There could be a multitude of reasons that person didn't want to talk to you. But if you're just thinking about wanting to get laid and how you deserve to get laid, like, sure, no, I'm a nice guy, all that sort of shit, then you're going to approach wrong, and then you're going to deal with a rejection badly as well. And again, a lot of that can be changed by just learning how to approach people, practice and approaching people with no, like I had a friend that used to want to date, and I used to tell him to go on every date he possibly could because he was terrible at dating. So go with every date that he possibly could, even ones that he had no intention or no initial spark. But he would learn how to talk to people. He would learn how to actually conduct himself on a date. And as with what happened, because I know people will watch this and think, well, that's not really fair going out with someone that you've no intention or you've no spark feeling. Like the spark takes more than one thing to create a spark. So in the woods, like you can't just get one stone and then stare at it and then have a spark. You have to create spark with more things. And then you have to create fire with even more things. And what happened to him was he did go on a random date with somebody he had no spark with in the conversation they had on Tinder, and then actually is still with that person right now. So the more that you date, the more you practice these things, the more you practice everything we talk about, the better you're going to get at it. So the confidence, strength, and presence makes you deserving of the people that you're reaching out to. Like when I used to coach, and when people did breakups and then they would like just let themselves completely go, and the only goal they had was get their partner back. Like this is a very harsh question, but I used to ask my clients all the time, would you fucking date yourself now in the state that you're in? And the answer is always no, like no. And then you're like, well, why would they? And if they said they would, why would you want them? So you if they've left for whatever reason they've left, maybe you could get them back, but maybe you want to work on yourself first. And then what usually happened was when the person worked on themselves, they got more confident, they got more present in themselves. They actually didn't want to be with that person because they realized that person was there for that time and it just didn't work out. And they actually have like elevated their frequency now, so they actually aren't a match anymore. So think about whenever you self-focus, all these extra things start to compound in. It's not just about learning one thing and then that one thing stays. You become more confident, which makes you have more presence, more self-awareness, which makes you more deserving of the life that you actually want and the people that you want in your life. So the spiritual condom, this is about protecting your energy. So obviously wear a real condom as well, but just for this analogy. I was always told that your energy was drained. Did not like that, so I started talking about the spiritual condom. And that way, whenever you are putting on a spiritual condom, you you're channeling your energy, your presence, your strength into your body for the connection that you're going to have with this person. So then you create a much better experience for yourself and for others. So like a lot of men are worried about how they are in bed, and it's a double-edged sword. Because you're so worried about it, you end up usually doing what you don't want to do. So you either come too soon, not at all, can't get it up. Like you can't be in the moment. And then when you ask the person, what was the situation like how was your night? It was all right. Whereas when you are thinking about protecting your energy, then you become self-focused. Doing the protective energy ritual, I suppose we would call it, helps you to relax, helps you to tune in, it helps you to just feel stronger in yourself. So then you've more self-awareness, more self-trust. Then you're more aware of your body and what your body's doing, but also you can create a better connection with the person. If that person is of a lower vibrational frequency than you, then if you're not protecting yourself, then I don't believe that they can like filter into you, but I do believe they can drain you. Like even when you talk to people that and you're not protected, they can drain you as well. So I don't believe that they can like override your energy and take over, but I do believe they can drain you because you're working so hard on protecting yourself that you end up just getting drained from it, and not in the good way that good sex drains you. So the spiritual condom comes in, self-awareness, self-focus, and then you can like set your intention. If you think about it, if you don't set your intention for the night, for the connection, for like sleeping with a person, if you don't intentionally set it, you're going to subconsciously set it, which is going to be negative. It's going to be, oh, what if she doesn't like me? What if I don't know how to press her buttons? What if I don't like perform? What if I can't perform? Whereas if the intention is set for you and them to have a great time, then everything else will fall into place. So get your spiritual condom on, like get your focus there, and then come back to me. Let me know. I bet you have much better sex, and your partners will actually express how much better it is by verbally telling you that was fucking great. So the final takeaway is this is quite a random podcast, but it was a conversation I had. It was an idea that I thought, and I thought I would just go with it. So the final takeaway is you have control over your presence. You have control over how you look, how you approach people, how you speak, the tone of your voice, your intention when you do it, whether it's in the bedroom or whether it's just in day-to-day life. But I guarantee that if you start to use the spiritual condom, you start to use your intention and your focus in the bedroom, it's going to be a much more fun place to be. So I want you to just this week reflect. I want you to reflect like how are you setting your intention when you talk to people, when you, whether it's for a partner or just in general, like Are you choosing them or are you chasing them? Like, this comes back to your internal respect, your presence, your self-awareness, everything. Train your confidence. So mentally, physically, and emotionally, train yourself to be more confident. Speak a bit more whenever you're ordering your coffee. Just talk to people in the street or talk to people at work, at a networking event, whatever it is. Put yourself in situations where you can practice approaching people, where you can practice talking to people, and where you can actually go home then and analyze how it felt. What was your presence when you went in there? So even when I sit down to do this podcast, all the podcasts, I'm not just sitting and going, right, I'm just going to shoot a podcast. I think about who I'm talking to, what I want you to feel, and the frequency that I want to transmit rather than just talking to camera for the sake of talking to camera. That's why I don't have a time limit on these. Like, they could be 10 minutes, they could be 30 minutes, they could be 40 minutes. And again, practice. So practice being aware, practice being present in all conversations, and then protect yourself. So I have a real crazy energy setup for protection in general. And then if I'm going to be in a more crowded area, I ramp that up. If I'm going to have sex with someone, I ramp that up even more. Put on my spiritual condom. I don't just walk around wearing it all the time. But I wear the other protection whenever I'm going to be out and about. So let me know what you think of this episode, and if it resonates with you and makes you think of the next time that you have an intimate experience. What is your presence when you're doing it? Are you afraid? Are you engaged? Are you present? Are you thinking 5 moves ahead? Are you like, what is going on with you? And just let me know how you get on with that. So again, thanks again for tuning in. Keep on the warrior path. I know if you just keep doing the wee things that we're talking about here, you're going to live the life that you actually want to live. So I'll catch you again soon.